Hello everybody. The Leviathan is, on first impression, my favorite of the new Desert Treasure 2 bosses, and I thought I'd make an early guide on it. I assume you know how to get here if you're at this point in the quest, and I believe, apart from lower HP and maybe lower stats, overall, the quest Leviathan is the same as the post-quest version, so this guide should work, whether you want just one kill for the quest, or are looking to start farming it yourself. First off, for gear, you're going to want your best ranged gear. I have a Bofa and crystal armor here. You can also bring blowpipe, especially with Missouri. I hear that's pretty good. I've also seen people with twisted bows and shadows, although I have no idea how well those work. You're also going to need runes to cast a shadow spell. I have the Shadow Barrage runes in my pouch here. Okay, so how the fight actually works and why I like it. It's actually sort of an accelerating boss fight where each phase of attacks gets either faster or more complicated. The basics are the Leviathan will attack you with colored orbs that you have to reactively pray against, and it can also bite you with melee if you walk too close. The orbs are colored blue for magic, green for ranged, orange for melee, and will calculate their damage when they hit your character, so that's when you need the correct protection prayer up. The first phase is a slow intro in which the Leviathan attacks with only mage or ranged every 3 game ticks. At the end of each round of attacks, you'll need to move and dodge some falling rocks before the next phase. Phase 2 starts the acceleration of the fight with attacks every 2 ticks instead of 3, and Phase 3 introduces the orange melee orbs. With Phase 4, the attacks are only mage and ranged again, but come every single game tick, or 0.6 seconds. Phase 5 adds melee orbs back in, and Phase 6 ups the projectile speed so you have less time to plan your reactions. Phase 7 is where it gets to be too much for me, and cuts out all projectile travel time and requires you to be praying correctly when the attack is launched, like most ranged attacks in the game. This is also where I die every time, and I personally draw the line. Some of you might have been saying, a different attack every tick, that's too much for me, and drawn the line back at Phase 4. Lucky for us, this boss lets us choose the difficulty somewhat with our shadow spells. At any point in the fight when you're overwhelmed or just don't want to progress to the next, harder phase, you can cast your shadow spell on the Leviathan and it will immediately stop attacking. Any projectiles still in the air will still hit you, but seem to do reduced damage when the boss is disabled like this. Now you have a chance to recover some HP and prayer while running behind the boss to hit it for an enhanced attack that usually hits pretty high. When you perform this backstab attack, you will trigger one of 2 special attacks from the big snake. Careful not to spend too long eating while it's disabled though, as it will eventually resume its attacks right where it left off, whichever phase that was. The first of the 2 special attacks is the debris attack, where the Leviathan will spit multiple boulders at your location, one after another, that remain on the ground, and then release a large shockwave damaging most of the arena. All you have to do for this one is keep moving to dodge the rocks, then hide behind one of them to avoid taking about 55 damage from the shockwave. The other special attack is a lightning attack, where the Leviathan will start shocking the ground at your location every tick, dealing about 20 damage each time it connects. To avoid this, you can just run in a circle around the arena or use some fancy movement patterns. The pattern I use is simply running back and forth between these 2 marked tiles, stopping at each one to shoot one attack off at the boss. There's also this 2-tick Wookswalk cycle that blowpipe users would be more inclined to use, but it is a bit trickier. For either of these methods, I'd recommend turning on the True Tile indicator in RuneLight so you can see exactly where you are. After the special attack is over, the Leviathan will reset back to an earlier phase in the fight, starting at Phase 2 for the first reset. If you perform multiple shadow spell stuns in one fight, the phase it resets to will be one later each time. So Phase 2, Phase 3, Phase 4, etc. The final Enrage phase of the fight happens whenever the boss reaches less than 20% HP. This includes during special attacks, so be careful not to get it that low in the middle of one of the specials, as the special will continue going as the Enrage phase starts. In this final phase, the Leviathan will attack with only mage and range orbs every 2 ticks, but also constantly drop rocks that need to be avoided. A moving white orb will also spawn and start circling the arena. Being within a tile of the orb will allow your protection prayers to fully block damage, as otherwise during this part of the fight, the orbs will do some damage even if prayed against correctly. Ideally, you want to follow the orb around the arena while switching your prayers, dodging rocks, and not getting too close to the boss to avoid being bitten. I've marked some tiles on the orb's path to guide me during this part, and so I can avoid dropping rocks on this path earlier in the fight. If following the orb while switching prayers is too much to think about, you can absolutely just ignore it, and eat occasionally, but remember to also keep moving to avoid the falling rocks. I find it easier and faster to just follow the orb, as I end up avoiding the rocks pretty much accidentally without having to think about it. At this point, either you or the snake is going down, as nothing in the fight will change from now on. I hope this video has helped you learn this fun fight with its built-in difficulty options, and I'd encourage you to try making it a little harder next time, as learning and honing new mechanics can be very rewarding. I'll end the video now with the classic full kill demonstration. Have a great snake shooting time!